even here on earth, this created world is overcome by those whose mind is established in equality. God is flawless and the same in all. Therefore are these persons established in God. Brahman is flawless and the same in all. Therefore people that become flawless and the same in all can be established in Brahman. People take on the characteristics of those who they surround themselves with. One who becomes like Brahman can be established in Brahman. Shri Krishna, notice the words Eva Eva. Eva Eva, right at the front of this verse. Eva Eva, it means here and now. Commentators have made many different interpretations of Eva Eva. One is right here. The second is in this world. The third is in the present and right now, not in the future. It means here and now. A person cannot win over the material world after passing away. One must do this while living a life. One must do this while residing in the body. Shri Krishna also uses the words Dehi Bhovachan. Dehi Bhovachan, and meaning those, which is in the plural, and therefore this gives a message that every human being can attain the Supreme Soul. They can win over the entire material world. If it was only one person that could do this, then the words Dehi Bhovachan would not be used. Each and every one of us has this power and strength. Each and every one of us has this potentiality. It is very clearly stated in the Vedas that Ayam me hasto Bhagavan, Ayam me Bhagavataha, meaning my hand is God. In fact, my hand is greater than God, because whatever efforts I do with this hand would lead me to attain God. That's what it said in the Vedas. If it is not as if liberation happens after death, how one can attain liberation even whilst living? And who can do this? Shri Krishna uses the words Sargara Jitaha. Sargara Jitaha, meaning one who has won over the material world. What is the meaning of winning over the material world? The world is a mystery. What is mysterious about it? It is that which is non-existent covers that which is existent. This world is a mystery. You can even see it in small things. Those things that are useless covers those things that are useful. This is the biggest mystery in the world. One forgets about important things because of things that are unimportant. One loses himself on a path because of this. Darkness covers light. Darkness in reality is not there, yet the light is there. Death is reality, is not there, but death puts the fear in life. A living person fears the thought of death. In reality, death does not exist. What does exist is life. That which is not existent, that which is not covers that which is existent. That which is not covers that which is. Ignorance covers wisdom. Agnane vrutam gnanam, as Shri Krishna said earlier in this verse. Temporary things always cover that which is permanent. A person runs after that which is temporary and forgets about that which is permanent. A person runs after that which is temporary and forgets about that which is permanent. This starts from childhood. Guruji often sees young students going to school and when he stays with different families. Every morning when they go to school, then an argument breaks out. They say they don't have a pencil, they don't have a sharpener, they don't have an eraser. A pencil is not necessary, a sharpener is not necessary, an eraser is not necessary. What is necessary for his studies? His concentration is necessary, and yet he is arguing over a sharpener. See what is important: studying, efforts, and concentration. Instead, the sharpener becomes important for him. And the sharpener becomes so important, or the razor becomes so important, he loses interest in going to school. That which is not meaningful covers that which is meaningful. We could understand it if this happens to a 5 or 7-year-old child, but this trend remains when a person is 25 or 27. That which is not meaningful covers that which is meaningful. A person spends his entire life running after things that are useless. I think about it a lot, but I can't understand the mystery, this mystery of life. Why does it happen? When that which is meaningful comes to one's understanding, then that which is not meaningful seems completely useless, and a person starts laughing at himself. I, who regard myself as well-behaved, understanding, and wise, still went after these wrong things. This is the mystery of the world. I'll go even further and say that what is lost is the truth, and that which is not the truth doesn't get lost. That which is good gets lost, and that which is wrong does not get lost. The year of one's life is spent in worrying about death are lost to that person. Death has not become lost. All that was lost was life. Truth always gets lost, and only those who are lucky lose that which is not the truth. We cannot doubt that there is power in truth, there is great strength in truth, and that is why even after being lost over and over again, it is still standing after thousands of years. On the other hand, that which is not truth has been gathering so much over the years and yet is still empty. Still, that which is not truth is still there. It is useless. Example, a person bought something from a shop. He was getting money out of his wallet to pay for it, and he found a £10 note and a £100 note. He gave the £10 note to the shopkeeper and put the £100 note in his pocket. He went on his way carrying the items that the shopkeeper gave him. There was a wrong person standing nearby that saw him put the £100 in his pocket. He followed behind him. They went a distance. Then this wrong person grabbed his hand and demanded that he gives him £100 note, saying that it belonged to the wrong person. The shopkeeper told the wrong person that he'd already paid for the goods at the shop, and therefore he should check the accounts because he gave the shopkeeper a newly printed note. The shopkeeper said this wrong person did not know him and therefore asked why he's asking for this £100 note. The wrong person said that he was a strange person because he took his money and yet he's saying that he doesn't know him. He started speaking in a very loud voice. People began to gather around because people love scenes like this. People began to gather around and the shopkeeper said that he doesn't even recognize this person. The wrong person said the shopkeeper had taken his money and shouted for him to give it back. People gathered in the crowd. When people are in a crowd, and the crowd has complete no brains. When you go to a circus, then people always start shouting, Zindabad, Zindabad. They have absolutely no brains. As soon as one person says Zindabad, then it's all finished. They only know how to say Zindabad and nothing else. As soon as the words Zindabad are said, then it's finished. What are they saying Zindabad for? What principles are they saying it for? There is no reason for it. These are not my words, that crowds have no brains. This is what psychologists say. A person on his own does not quickly make mistakes. Crowds immediately make mistakes. If someone tells an individual to set fire to a temple or throw stones at a mosque, then he won't do it. But if a crowd comes, they'll burn the entire temple down. And then every person in the crowd thinks that they've done their religious duty. Every person in the crowd thinks that if he breaks down a mosque, then they've done a religious deed. Crowds have no brains. This crowd gathered nearby, and 2 or 3 people in the crowd began giving advice. They told the shopkeeper to give the money away because he took his money. The shopkeeper told him that he doesn't even recognize this person. He said that this person has held him for the wrong reason. The shopkeeper said that this £100 note is his because he had it when he left his house. He said that it was his hard-earned money. He worked so hard in order to get this £100 note. The wrong person just kept talking. The extremely well-behaved people in the crowd told them both to split the £100, so they both get the £50 and the argument finishes. The entire crowd said that this is a very well-behaved person. They said to stop the argument and split the money between them. Who lost the £50 in the end? Truth lost. That which was not truth did not lose anything. Sarvan Vashe Satmut Bate Adam Tyachi Pandita, meaning this is what happens. The man who is right has nothing to prove that what he is saying is the truth. How can he prove this in the middle of the road? This is the mystery of life. But there is one assurance. That which is truth, this is the truth, is very strong. One can see it being lost. When one loses something in a battle against that which is not truth, then the thing that he gets in return is a lot, is of a great amount that one gets in return on the inside. Just in the same way, if a rock has fallen on the road and some idol maker sees it and begins creating an idol out of it, he molds the rock into shape by hitting with a hammer. If the rock thinks that it's losing everything because it used to be 50 kilograms and is now losing a big part of itself, it doesn't matter what has been lost because what is about to appear is much more beautiful. The rock could never have the value like the idol did. A lot went away and yet this beauty appeared. One would have to lose something in this case, and there is no doubt about that, but that which appears after he is lost is far greater than that which was there before. There are so many beautiful idols, and if they were not idols, there would not have been any rocks. The rock that the idol maker had bought would definitely be much lower worth than the idol. The idol maker made beauty appear on the rock. All the unnecessary parts got taken out. The consequence was that the value of the rock grew, not in terms of monetary terms, but in terms of its greatness and in terms of its preciousness. If it remained just a rock, then very few people would have been able to see the Supreme Being residing in the rock. After the appearance of the idol, everyone bows their head down to it. In the same way, truth and that which is not truth come together to shape the rock that is our lives and our ideals. The more you travel further in the journey of life, and the more that the unnecessary parts get taken out, then the more that the truth appears, and that which is attained is much greater than that which was there before. When people see that this person has become one with the truth, then they bow their heads down to him. This is because the beauty in him has come out. The majority of people stop on this path because of this mistake at the beginning. They think that they have to lose everything, and that is why the truth does not appear in them. There is bliss in losing these things. One who has bliss in losing these things wins over the material world. He has won over the whole world. This is the great thing in every religion and in every thought. In the Jain religion, you'll see that the idols are called jinn. Jinn means someone who has won over himself. It means someone who has won over his own nature. That is why the word Jain has come. That is why we have the name Mahavir. Who is a Vir? It is someone who attacks and wins over others. This is a very ordinary thing. If you gain little more strength, then you're able to attack someone. One who attacks others or wins over others is called Vir, whereas one who wins over himself is called Mahavir. He has won over himself, and this is a very difficult thing to do. The Tirthankars in the Jain religion were all Mahavir. In the Ramcharitmanas, the name Mahavir is used for Hanuman over and over again. Shri Hanuman is called Mahavir. Why has he been called a Mahavir? Because one who has done Hanuman is Mahavir. Hanu means to kill or break, and Man means the feelings of egotism. One who has killed or broken away this feeling of egotism and has won over himself is Hanuman. That is why Shri Hanuman is called Mahavir. You may be surprised that in the Sri Ramcharitmanas, the word Veer is used for Sri Ram many times, yet Tulsidas has never used the word Mahavir for Sri Ram. The word Mahavir is only used for Sri Hanuman. The word Veer and not Mahavir is used for Sri Ram. The word Veer is used for Lakshman. The word Veer is used for Bharat. The word Veer is used for Shatrughan. The word Veer is used for Dashrat. All of these are Veer. Even Janak is Veer. Hanuman is the only Mahavir because he's killed his own feelings of egotism. This is a very great state. Only such a person can win over the material world. One who wins over himself can win over the material world. While a person hasn't won over himself, then they can't win over the material world. Viveva ter jita sargo yesham samya stita mana, meaning one whose mind is steady and balanced does not have the problem of the mind running away. Such a person becomes faultless. All his faults go away because all his faults were as a result of self-sense. In reality, the biggest fault is self-sense. There is no other fault. When self-sense comes, then all the sins come one after another. There was once a joint family where two brothers lived together. The mother and the father were also there. The older brother got married and had a child. 2 years later, the younger brother got married and then had a child. One evening, these two children were playing with the younger brother. The younger brother's child called the younger brother father, and the older brother's child called the younger brother uncle. There was not much of a difference in the ages between the two children. The son of the older brother was 5 years old, and the son of the younger brother was 3 years old. They were playing with the younger brother. Both children asked the younger brother to give them chocolate. The younger brother bought a chocolate from the fridge and broke it into two pieces. He saw the two pieces and realized that one piece was too big and the other piece was too small. The bigger piece was in his left hand and the smaller piece was in his right hand. The child of the older brother was standing by his left hand and his son was standing by his right hand. He realized that if he kept his hands in the same way, then the child of the older brother would get the bigger piece of the chocolate and his own son would get the smaller piece of the chocolate. Therefore, he played about with his hands and mixed his chocolates so his son got the bigger piece. Both children ate the chocolates. The older brother was sitting in the sofa nearby and saw this event happen. He fell silent and didn't say anything. After 1 week or 15 days, all the people in the house were sitting there quietly, and one brother said something. The older brother said something to the parents. He said that he thinks that it's time that the family split up, separate from living together, and that the business should be sold. The parents found this very strange and asked him why he's saying this. The parents said that both brothers got on well as their wives from the other houses. They said that even the children love each other and play together all the time. The parents asked the older brother why he was saying this. The older brother was intelligent and his parents had faith in his intelligence. They knew that there must have been a meaning behind what he was doing and what he was saying. Both brothers were also sitting there. Their parents asked the older brother why he was saying this, because the whole family was running a nice business together and everyone was well. They asked him why he was selling the business. The older brother just said one sentence: "Father, at the moment there are many differences in the hands, but when there are differences in the mind, we should go." The self-sense fell in the hands, and they had not ruined the situation too much, but before the self-sense comes into the mind, the older brother decided that they should split up. This is because when the self-sense comes, then all the other faults start coming one by one. They will appear on their own. The person described in this verse has become faultless because his mind is established in equality. That is why he can remain faultless. The state is one of Satchidananda, meaning existence, wisdom, bliss, and Brahmistiti, the state of Brahman, the state of God. The person is living, and yet he's attained the state of Brahmistiti because he's living and he's been liberated from the material world. Winning over the material world, Sargajita is a word used to describe this quality in this verse. Sargajita is the word described in this verse. Does not mean winning over the world like Alexander the Great, because Alexander the Great won over the whole world, yet both his hands were empty when he left. He said himself that when his funeral procession takes place, then they should leave both his hands outside his coffin, so that people would know that when Alexander the Great, who had won over the entire world, left this planet, he went empty-handed. This is not about winning the world in the sense of like winning a war. It's about winning over the material world in your mind. One who lives in the material world and yet wins over the material world is Sargajita. How can this state of Samadrashti come, of an equal eye? What is necessary for this? Commentators say that 5 qualities are necessary. We must understand these principles a little. Samadarshi Sadatyam Nidvadam Nisangatvam Kamadisho Sardarashanam Tadvegnavanam Atma Yeva Bhogya Kalpanam Iti Panchavidam Kamashod Brahmasitya Lakshanam. Meaning, the principles of attaining a mind established in equality are 5. First, choicelessness. Second, detachment. Third, seeing the faults in running after objects. Fourth, resisting and becoming liberated from desire and anger. Fifth, finding one's happiness and joy in the soul. These are 5 qualities that lead one to attain the state of Brahman. In the 5 verses that follow, Shri Krishna describes each of these qualities one by one as follows: choicelessness in verse 20, detachment in verse 21, seeing the faults in running after objects in verse 22, resisting and becoming liberated from lust and anger in verse 23, and finding one's happiness and joy in the soul in verse 24. We will now look at these verses in turn.